back here as well. So, as you learned in anatomy, the ankle does not move in any single cardinal plane, right? So our axis is a triplanar axis at the ankle. So we have pretended that all of our joints are hinge joints and that there's a single axis when we use our goniometer. We're going to do the same thing at the ankle, and we're going to pretend that we're measuring these motions in cardinal planes. Just know that we really are measuring one component of a larger motion. So but hello! So for pronation, so if you think of closed chain pronation and supination, pronation is going to be when you're falling in on your arches, okay? So those of you who are standing, if you think of falling in on your arches, we're getting flattening of the feet, the ankles are going into dorsiflexion, and the front of the foot is kind of going out, so it's abducting, okay? If you think about supination, it's where our arches go up higher. So now we're getting our feet are turning in, we're plantar flexing, and we're getting that adduction. Okay? We talk about those motions at 3 different joints. So we have the talocrural joint, which is the mortise and the talus. Then we have the subtalar joint, which is the talus on the calcaneus. And then we have the forefoot, which is going to be the tarsals, the metatarsals working on the tarsals. Okay? We throw all of that together and come up with these fake cardinal plane motions that we measure. Okay? We are going to go through a way to measure pronation and supination, which combines all of those movements together. But the reality is that we do need to have, particularly plantar and dorsiflexion, and maybe even inversion and eversion, they contribute separately to some of the injuries that we see. So we're going to start with ankle plantar and dorsiflexion. So I'm going to have you lie back, John, if you don't mind. Now, when we measure plantar and dorsiflexion, we have a 2-joint muscle that's involved in ankle motions, and that is our gastroc. And so we need our gastroc to be shortened when we're measuring goniometry, okay, when we're measuring range of motion at the ankle. So is the gastroc shortened in knee extension or in knee flexion? Flexion, good. So this is a common mistake that is made, is that people will be asked to measure ankle plantar or dorsiflexion, and they'll do it with the knees straight. So it's, don't help me, I got it. Is that comfortable? Mm-hmm. Is that okay? So you're going to want to have the knees bent when you're measuring ankle plantar and dorsiflexion, okay? I'm actually going to move this cushion over just a little bit so you're closer to the edge on this side. Now, 0 for plantar and dorsiflexion is going to be with the ankle at 90 degrees, okay? Now, well, actually, you guys win. I'm going to measure that side, so all of you are going to need to move that way. It was a numbers game, and you guys lost, sorry.
Sorry if I get nervous.
Up on the floor.
Sorry.
Did you hear my pops?
I heard it. Sorry, no, sorry. Okay, now we need to move it this way. There you go. Good. Okay, so we need to have the knee bent. So those wedges work well. This is a little bit of a funky one, but we'll work with it. So we're going to be lining up with the lateral epicondyle, and then we're going to be following ray 5, okay? Now, unfortunately, we have this big knob right here in our lateral malleolus. You are going to want to put your axis on that knob. That isn't the axis of motion, okay? So resist, fight it. Think of a big red X over that lateral malleolus, okay? So what you're going to want to do, I'm sorry, it's your fibular head, I said, lateral malleolus, or lateral epicondyle, it's the fibular head. So we're going to bring that axis all the way down past the lateral malleolus, okay? And we want to be parallel with the foot. And now we need to get to neutral position. No, I'm just kidding. So this is 0. Now for some people, that can't be 0 because it's too far. Go ahead and relax your foot for me, John. Alright, so that's 0 for him. So if I was gonna measure plantar flexion and I was gonna do it actively, go ahead and point your toe for me. Now because of this mat, I've gotta come out here a little bit, but again, I wanna stay along that 5th ray and I wanna keep that axis, but again, my axis is way down here and now we've gone 39 degrees. Okay, for plantar flexion. Now, John, I'm gonna have you come up as far as you can. Good job. And go ahead and relax. Preston, I really like your goni. It's sticky. So, so we've got 16 degrees that direction. Okay, someone over here has a loose one. That's a bummer. What I mean by sticky is I can pull it off and it stays, which is just really nice. Okay, so that's plantar flexion and dorsiflexion. Now, we can also measure, when we're looking at closed chain motions, we can also want to measure how much dorsiflexion someone has while we're in subtalar neutral. Is that the next one? Yeah. So here, this cushion doesn't work great because he's touching, but I've got my fingers on the neck of the talus and in the sinus tarsi. And now I'm cupping the calcaneus and I'm moving the talus by moving the calcaneus, okay, right, because they're connected. And I'm trying to find a position where it is in neutral for me, okay. So so when you'll know what I mean when you feel this. You're gonna feel the talus moving underneath your fingers and you're looking for a place where it feels it's in neutral. And then once you have that position, then you're gonna bring that person up into dorsiflexion and measure that number, okay? So that's measuring in subtalar neutrals. You have to get used to that, and we'll certainly help you as you play with that. And again, it'll make more sense once you feel it. Is it pronation and supination next?
So is that passive only?
Yeah, that's typically done
Why are
passively.
there 2 different types of dorsiflexion? Like just straight
Because it may be that in neutral, when you have the person in neutral, they can either go further or not as far. And that might be important if you're looking at building an orthotic for that person, or if you're looking at they're having troubles with running hills or something. You may that information might be important.
Okay.
Okay. But anteriorly, okay. Should we just do those 3 first?
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.